Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I'm the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and I tell you, it's absolutely fantastic to be back with you. Still got voice issues. It's better, but the voice is extremely weak, and I appreciate so very, very much all of the expressions of concern, your prayers, and what have you, suggestions. Uh, I'm doing everything that I know how to do. I've eliminated all caffeine coffee. How terrible. Anyway, uh, I'm doing an awful lot of the things that have been recommended to me and for me. Um, it's just that I have no volume. This is it, and so gotta keep my mic real close here. I don't know how much or how long I'm going to be able to speak. My plan at this time is to try to do videos through Wednesday. I'm hoping to be able to do the program with Daniel Rogers on Tuesday uh, regularly. That two guys in a Bible. I don't know that I'll be able to. I do not know if I'll be able to do my Thursday slot with Mike Sullivan, in which we have been responding to Doug Wilson. I do not know if I'll be able to do another, 30, 40-minute program video in responding to the book by Steve Gregg. I just don't know at this point. I'm doing my best to get this video filmed. Been recommended to me that instead of trying to film three or four programs all at one time, that I do one per day. That's a possibility. It kind of, in a way, it increases my workload, to be honest about it. But if that's what I have to do in order to be able to produce the videos, then that's what I'll have to do. Do a 15, 20-minute program video and let the voice rest the rest of the day. Do another one the next day. I don't know. I just simply don't know. This is extremely, extremely frustrating uh, for someone that basically, quote, makes his living by talking. Not being able to talk is really kind of tough. I had to go to the doctor some years ago for a similar problem. It basically healed itself. But I'll tell you that the doctor at the time told me he didn't want me speaking at all for 6 months, no preaching for 6 months. Well, I certainly hope that's not, I hope that's not on the agenda here. So anyway, I told the doctor, I said, look, man, I make my living with my mind and with my voice. I can get by without my brain every once in a while, but I got to have my voice. And he thought that was kind of funny, but it's just, anyway, it's been very, very frustrating. Now, all of that aside, uh, I initially didn't know if I'd be able to do a video this morning, but I'm so excited after literally months and months and months and months of frustration over formatting, over technical issues, production issues. I am absolutely thrilled to introduce today a brand new book. It is entitled, These Are the Days in Which All Things Must Be Fulfilled. Now, those of you who know your scriptures a little bit know that this is based directly on Luke 21 and verse 22. Jesus, in a passage that everyone that I'm aware of, admits that Jesus was describing the coming destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. He said, these be the days of vengeance in which all things that are written must be fulfilled. Now I tell you, that smacks of having unbelievable implications, ramifications, consequences for the entire study of eschatology. But of course, the anti-preterist, the futurist, tell us, well, no. Jesus wasn't saying that by the time of the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70 and in the events of AD 70, all prophecy would reach its consummation and fulfillment. All that Jesus was saying was all things concerning the destruction of Jerusalem would be fulfilled. Well, I agree with that. And you're going, well, okay, doesn't that refute the preterist argument that all prophecy would be fulfilled by AD 70? No. Others say, well, it's certainly true that Jesus was saying all things written must be fulfilled, but men like Kenneth Gentry say, and I discuss this extensively in this new book, Kenneth Gentry says that preterists are absolutely naive. Preterists are ignorant. Because you see, if you observe the Greek text of Luke 21 and verse 22, Jesus was saying, these be the days of vengeance in which all things that have been already, when Jesus spoke, fulfilled. And that means, and Kenneth Gentry is on record as stating, I document it in this book, Kenneth Gentry is on record saying that what Jesus meant was, in Luke 21:22, when he said, these be the days of vengeance in which all things that have been written must be fulfilled, was that all Old Testament prophecy would be fulfilled by AD 70. I agree with that. But of course, you see, that admission and that argument by the normally erudite Kenneth Gentry absolutely 100% totally destroys all futurist eschatologies. Now, in this book, I examine Gentry's argument. I examine another argument that says, well, all that Jesus was saying was that all prophecy concerning the fall of Jerusalem and all of the attendant particulars surrounding that event would be fulfilled. That's all it means. Well, I agree with that. And you're going, okay, Preston, if you agree that what Jesus was saying was that all Old Testament prophecy would be fulfilled by AD 70, then doesn't that disprove the full preterist view? No. It proves it. It supports it. It documents it. And Preston, if you admit that AD 70 was the fulfillment of all prophecies concerning the fall of Jerusalem and all the particulars surrounding that, aren't you surrendering the full preterist movement? No, it proves it. It establishes full preterism. Others argue, well, all that Jesus was saying is all things concerning vengeance on Jerusalem would be fulfilled by AD 70. That doesn't mean all other prophecies would be fulfilled. Well, I halfway agree with that, but here's the point. Fully documented in this book, you cannot delineate between the day of vengeance and the day of salvation. Not possible biblically. The bottom line is this, that I document extensively. You're not going to find this anywhere else, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I document this very, very heavily. And that is this. The Old Testament, when Kenneth Gentry says all Old Testament prophecy, and yes, that is specifically and explicitly what Kenneth Gentry argued in an argument. You can read one of my responses to that on my website, DonKPreston.com. But when you argue that all Old Testament prophecy would be fulfilled by AD 70, you are admitting that all prophecies concerning the coming of the Lord, the judgment, the resurrection, the new creation, the kingdom, salvation, would be fulfilled by AD 70, because you see, all of those things are prophesied in the Old Testament. Oh, and by the way, this is the real kicker, as I fully document in this book. Each one of those eschatological tenets and elements, the doctrine of the coming of the Lord, the judgment, the resurrection, the new creation, salvation, the kingdom, etc., every single one of those constituent elements, point number one, are not only prophesied in the Old Testament, but they are inextricably linked with prophecies of the destruction of Jerusalem. Let me say that again, folks. You really have to catch the power of this. Every constituent element of eschatology, and for that matter, soteriology, we might say, but every constituent element of eschatology, coming of the Lord, judgment, resurrection, kingdom, salvation, new creation. Point number one is foretold in the Old Testament, and those constituent elements are predicted in passages that link those events to the time of the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. Folks, this is the Achilles heel of all futurism. This is devastating to futurism. Oh, and so when it's argued that all that Jesus was talking about in Luke 21 and verse 22 was the destruction of Jerusalem and all of the particulars surrounding that, well, once again, I agree with that. But again, here's the point. All of the particulars surrounding the destruction of Jerusalem involved coming of the Lord, judgment, resurrection, new creation, salvation, kingdom, etc. So when you admit that AD 70 was the fulfillment of all prophecies concerning the fall of Jerusalem and all of the quote, attendant particulars, unquote, then you are admitting, when you admit that, all those things were fulfilled in AD 70, you are admitting coming of the Lord, judgment, resurrection, all of those other elements were fulfilled in AD 70. And when you say that all things concerning the day of vengeance were fulfilled in AD 70, you are thereby admitting that all prophecy concerning the salvation of Israel, the establishment of the kingdom, the coming of the Lord in judgment, and the new creation were all fulfilled. Because let me say again, you cannot divorce the day of vengeance from the time of salvation. You can't do that. Dispensationalists try that all the time. Doesn't work. So, I am absolutely thrilled to death to introduce this new book. These are the days of vengeance in which all things must be fulfilled. This book is now listed on Amazon. All right? I will be publishing it in Kindle very, very soon. I've had some translation issues, formatting issues, getting it translated over into Kindle. But it is currently available. I have stock in store. The regular price for this book is $18.95 plus $4.95 shipping. For the rest of this month and and all of July, okay, as an introductory special, total delivered price $16.95. That's going to save you $7. Now look, folks, the bottom line here is Jesus was indeed saying all Bible prophecy, all eschatological prophecies would be fulfilled by the time of and in the events of the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. You know what that means? It means the coming of the Lord, judgment, and resurrection have been fulfilled. It means the new creation has been fulfilled. It means that all futurist views of eschatology are false. Period. End of story. And I suspect there's going to be a lot of weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth. I suspect there's going to be an awful lot of ridicule, a whole lot of condemnation. But I suspect there will not be an awful lot of attempts at exegetical response to this book. Folks, let me tell you, this book changes everything in regard to eschatology. So, go to my website, donkpreston.com, BibleProphecy.com, and there'll be a big banner up there introducing the book. All you have to do is click on it. Once again, regular price, $18.95. plus $4.95 shipping. For the rest of June and all of July 2023, U.S. orders only. Total delivered price, $16.95. So take advantage of this. I'm telling you, folks, this is the most exhaustive, the most comprehensive exegetical study of Luke 21:22 that I am familiar with. I may have missed something, obviously, but the point of fact is, this is, to my knowledge, one of the most in-depth exegetical examinations of Luke 21 and 22. And let me reiterate, this book changes everything. Okay, tomorrow, if I'm able to, I'm going to be looking again at the subject of Matthew chapter 25 being the end of the millennium resurrection judgment. As I have set forth, and there have been several people object to that, but I'm going to look a little bit closer at the comparison between Matthew 25 and Revelation chapter 20. I hope to see you on the flip side.